Welcome to Thrivia Thursdays, the day when we take a look at some Catholic trivia in a search for information that you don't already know. But after today, you will be 6 steps closer to being a Catholic genius. Categories include geography, entertainment, history, art and literature, science and nature, sports and leisure. And here's your hostess, Andrea Serrani.
Hooray! So we haven't done like a general sort of trivia in a while. I keep a list of all the interesting things I find during the course of my reading and my Twitter addiction every week. And I just have them all banked up. So let's run through some of them.
All right.
You ready?
I guess so.
So, first question, geography category. The Little Sisters, Disciples of the Lamb, are the first contemplative community in the world to welcome into consecrated life people with Down syndrome.
Oh.
There is actually a canon law that prohibits people with mental disabilities from being part of religious communities for various reasons, partially because you wouldn't have total use of your reason and will to commit yourself. Anyway, it's a long story, but they actually got this canon law an exception to form this religious community. Where are they located?
Oh. In France.
It is in France.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. There was a report about them on Register Radio from National Catholic Register, not this last weekend, but the weekend before that. If you want to hear more about them or find that article on ncregister.com. Entertainment category. Pope Benedict XVI was the first pope to use social media. The Vatican has never exactly been known for being tech savvy, but the 20th century, they used lots of different kinds of communication methods to send out papal messages, including the Pope's own voice. We've talked about the first Pope to be on TV, things like that.
Sure.
But this tradition of using modern methods actually goes back to the 19th century. Which Pope was featured in the first papal audiovisual recording?
Wow. In the 19th century.
It was the 19th century.
Ugh.
So do you know who was Pope in 1896?
Nope. I'll go with Pope Paul the III.
No. It was Pope Leo the 13th. So there's this video, the visual component of him. He was 93 years old, by the way, in this video. He's arriving at an event and giving a blessing. And then there's audio that's dubbed over it. That is from another event, and he's chanting the Hail Mary. He's singing the Ave Maria chant.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. You can find it on Alatea if you are so inclined. History. The dogmatic definition of the Assumption is by authority of our Lord Jesus Christ, of the blessed apostles Peter and Paul, and by our own authority we pronounce, declare, and define it to be a divinely revealed dogma that the Immaculate Mother of God, the ever Virgin Mary, having completed the course of her earthly life, was assumed body and soul into heavenly glory. It was declared by Pope Pius XII. When?
Pope Pius XII.
Yep. So if you know when he was Pope, that might help.
We'll say 19.
Yep. So far, so good.
68.
No, you know that Pope Pius XII wasn't Pope in 1968. That was Paul VI.
Oh.
Anyway, 1950. So pretty close.
Okay.
It was celebrated as an official feast day way before that, though. At least as far back as the 8th century. So if you're thinking that we didn't believe this until 1950, right. Yeah, that's not it. Arts and literature. This summer, the Smithsonian Art Museum in Washington featured the work of Jesuits Father Giuseppe Castiglione and Father Ignatius Sicklebarth. 18th century missionaries who offered their artistic services to the imperial court of which country?
The country of Spain.
China. Wouldn't need to be missionaries in Spain.
Oh. Well, I mean, we have missionaries in the United States.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. Anyway, the majority of the paintings and objects in this display, they were all of empresses, and most of them had never been seen by the outside world before because China has been sort of covetous of these things and keep them in this, it's called the Forbidden City. This palace complex where China's emperors and their families lived for centuries. Anyway, these priests were part of the artists who were allowed to paint the empresses. So kind of cool.
Yeah.
So check that out. See about the Smithsonian's exhibits
this summer. Is it still there?
No, it was there like April to June, I think.
Okay.
Science and nature. What was St. Francis of Assisi's least favorite animal, according to a 14th century biography of him and an account from his friend St. Giles?
Least favorite animal. Let's go with the pigeon.
No. Ants.
Ants.
Here is why.
Okay.
This is actually like really good. Why?
Mosquitoes would be another.
It's not because they're annoying. Brother Giles said that St. Francis loved the ants less than any other animal because of the great care they take in the summer to gather and lay up a store of grain against the winter. But he said that he loved the birds far better because they gathered nothing one day for another. So basically, the ants don't follow what Jesus said about not worrying about, don't worry. Jesus says in Matthew chapter 6, do not be anxious about your life, what you shall eat or what you shall drink, nor about your body, what you shall put on. It talks about life being more than food or clothing. And he talks about how the sparrows do what they should. And St. Francis was like, yeah, you ants. Didn't you listen to what Jesus said?
Must not. Disobedient ants.